Hi, and thanks for joining me once again. My name is Doug Blunt, and I'm the host for the continuing series, Landscapes Masterclass, Taking It Up a Notch. And this is class number 7. Today we're going to be talking about removing noise very quickly and easily using Photoshop or Lightroom, actually. And also, and more importantly, removing halos around tough edges, which we've all run into. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here's the backstory for this edit today. This lady, Dorothy Borks, lives in Germany, and she apparently has frequented Anna Maria Island in years past and loves it here, and hasn't been able to come over. But she frequents one of the Facebook groups for Anna Maria Island. There's 4 of them that I post to. One of them has 40,000 people on it. And Dorothy had seen a picture that I posted in the last week in Germany. She saw it, and she wanted to put it in her home badly. So she really worked my wife, so to speak, through emails and so forth. Angie came to me and says, "We got to take care of this cute lady. She's an artist. She fell in love with your photo, and she really would like to print it in Germany and put it in her house." So I said yes. I was happy to do it, actually, because this lady is so grateful. When we told her we were going to do this, let me just say, she's extremely grateful. So this is the original thing that we got from her, and you can see she's writing in sort of broken English. They haven't been able to come to Anna Maria. She wants to put it in her house. She's really excited. She said, "Thank you to your husband. It would be so nice if he sent it in high definition to my email account." So that's what we're going to do. But when I was prepping to do this, it dawned on me that this particular photo, I'll put this up here so it's out of the way. This particular photo looks okay. It looks pretty good, actually, at this size or smaller. She's talking about a wall print. Okay, and I, in fact, just had this discussion with another member of our club. It's probably a good idea to edit for print quality. In other words, when she sees this, she's going to see it at 100% magnified. And at 100%, things start to show up on you that you wouldn't see when it's a little bit smaller. So I started noticing halos around this building, which can happen when you're working with colors at times, and I'm sure there's some other factors, but anyway, you start getting these halos, these white halos around the edges of things, and they're difficult to remove without, well, we're going to do that today, and that's where I'm going with this. And because I'm doing this for Dorothy, I'm actually doing it live and prepping it today to send this high-res file to her through WeTransfer. So this is an active situation that we're involved with here, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to get this photo ready for print. Okay. There's another issue here, which is this is a little bit grainy up here. It's not too bad when it's small, but this is a pretty long exposure. As you can see by the evidence of people walking up and down the pier, they're getting really blurry. This is a pretty long exposure. It softened up the water, which is the reason I did it. But it's created some grain down there and over here. So I'm going to get rid of the grain too. And let's go ahead and just get started. I'm going to jump into Photoshop. And with this shot, let me show you why I wanted to do this. If you come and look at this, this pier in this side, you can see these people were walking through here. Some people were standing still, which is always nice. But we got these kind of funky halos going on around the building, and it just doesn't look that great. So let's go ahead and work on the first thing, which is the grain, this awful grain that I'm seeing up in the sky. I knew that that would be an issue if she went to print. So the way I'm going to do that is to use ACR, Adobe Camera Raw, or you can go up here to Filter Camera Raw, as we've discussed in other videos. But you want to get to Camera Raw, and it's just very much like Lightroom here. So what I'm going to do is take the noise reduction slider, and I'm going to take it all the way to the right. And you can see how soft everything got. The problem is that it makes everything soft, including this, which I don't want. So I'm going to apply that to the whole photo. So now everything's kind of got a soft, everything's gone soft. All the details kind of soft, which is not what we want. So we've done this before. It's called the black mask white brush technique, where you just are going to apply that noise reduction just to certain areas. And the way you do it is to come down here to this little thing here. On a Mac, you click Option, you hold the Option key down and click that, and you get this black mask up. Okay. And then what you'll do then is come and get a white brush. You can do it a number of different ways. I'm going to teach the TK panel later, but for right now, I'll just do it the old-fashioned way. You come up to the brush, click on that, make sure that this foreground color is white, because you're going to be painting with white. And you can change the size of your brush by hitting left bracket, right bracket, and getting the size that you want. Okay. Now, since I put a black mask on here, it's blocking that softness. It took it out. So you can still see the grain up here, but we're going to add it back in by using a white brush on this mask, and it'll literally just, I'm sorry, to the left of it, which has the noise reduction in it. I don't want to get too close to the buildings and stuff when I use this big brush, because it is a soft brush. You want to use a soft brush, but it bleeds a little bit, and you don't want it to kind of bleed over into other detail that you want. Okay, well, that was relatively nice and quick and simple, don't you think? Apply the adjustment to the whole thing, put a black mask on it, cover it up, and just come back with a white brush and just paint it in selectively. Makes it really simple and easy. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take care of the second of two problems, which is, I think, the bigger problem. And that is the haloing that's around the bridge. I mean, you can see it here. There were people walking, and there's this white kind of ghastly haloing going on around the bridge, which, if you look at it, a print on the wall, you're going to see this stuff, and I didn't want her to have to deal with that after printing. So we're going to go ahead and take care of it, and the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to come up here, I'm going to grab a selection brush. It's actually called Quick Selection, and I'm going to just take it across the pier and build a selection in here of the pier, folks. And it's going to be rough initially, which is totally okay, because the next thing I'm going to do is come up to Select and Mask. I think probably some of you folks have seen this and are using it. If you're not, you probably should, because it's a very cool tool for getting a really nice, beautiful selection along edges. Okay, let me just take it down one more notch so you can see it. Okay. All right, so there's my selection, my initial rough selection. Select and Mask allows you to refine it. So you have these brushes over here. The second one is the one that I want to use to begin with, and it's called the Refine Edge Brush Tool, or you can just hit the letter R and it would get you there. But what it'll enable you to do is put a nice tighter edge on the selection, so that you're not selecting the sky in this manner. I'm trying to select the pier, and it just kind of knows how to pick out the good stuff, the important stuff. And so I'm just going to go over this, make sure that's selected. I want that selected, and the edge of the building there. Come down over these people, clean that up so that they're selected. But let's see here, make sure that this is nice and tidy before I use the selection. Yep, isn't that nice? Okay, so now we selected the pier, and pretty much nothing but the pier, although I still want to refine it a little bit. So I'll come down to this next brush, which is the brush tool, and what that enables you to do is expand your selection manually. I'm going to select this person right here, because I just think he's kind of cool to look at. I'm going to make sure that this stack up here on top of the building is selected also in a good way, so I just don't want to miss that. Okay, so I'm just refining the selection. Let's see what else I want to include that's not included right now. That looks pretty good. That actually looks really good. So I'm going to come down here, I'm going to hit OK. And now I have a selection of the bridge that I'm going to use. And so the challenge here is to get rid of the halos on the outside of the bridge, right? It's that stuff that you don't want to be seeing, like this blurriness up in here and the people walking, and there's just a lot of extra stuff going on. And then over here you'll notice too, those halos are pretty pronounced around this building. You'll see the difference when I take these halos out, just what a difference it makes. Okay, so I'm going to go out to full screen, and this next part is really important. If you ever need to make a clone stamp adjustment along an edge, and you don't want to bleed over to the edge, you probably run into that where you wanted a nice sharp edge and you couldn't get it. We'll come up here to after you make your selection, and you select the inverse. Now the way you'll know that what you're doing now is you're selecting everything around the pier. You're not selecting the pier, you're selecting everything around it. And the way you know it is these marching ants on the side. So that's always nice too. But we're selecting everything around it, so whatever I do is going to only go in outside of the pier. And that's kind of what I wanted, because I want to take that halo off there. So let's go ahead and grab the clone stamp tool. And this next part is pretty cool. Okay, so with the clone stamp tool, the way it works is when you select by holding the Option key down with the clone stamp, you get this crosshair that pops up, and when you see the crosshair, that means it's picking up pixels from that spot, and you can use that to dab in that pixel color in areas where you want to clean it up along the edge, and you get a nice sharp edge with the selection. You won't be bleeding over, and that's the key to it. So we're going to be using paint above the pier to fill in those spots that are blurry and are eyesores. So again, we'll hold down the Option key on a Mac or the Alt key on a PC, and as you click around, you're actually gathering up color that you can use to paint. When you release the Option key, now you can paint with that color wherever you click down. Now I'm going to show you something really cool here. If I hold down my Option key, my mouse key on the Mac, that plus is where it's grabbing paint. Okay, so as I come across, it's actually using paint from where that cross is to paint in the gaps on the thing. See how nice and smooth that is? You can't even really tell where that happened across the pier. Now I'm probably going to come up here. Well, actually, I come over here. I want it here, and I'll grab some paint samples over here to use to paint over the pier. Okay, so I'm going to come up. Oop, that's a little bit too dark. Okay, so to grab them down lower, and I'll just paint like so, using pixels from the left side of the pier. That looks pretty good. And I'll just do a little bit more here on the side, just to make sure it's nice and clean around these people. See where that plus is? That's where the paint's coming from. So you can get a nice color sampling. I may even looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit more over here. So they come up over the top there. And I'm going to call that a day on that. So I'm going to hit Command D to deselect. And we'll hello to the LWRD PC, by the way. We're going to come back now to the layers panel, and I'm going to show you before and after. Okay, for both of the both of the adjustments that we made. So you're gonna, if you look up in here, particularly when I do this before and after, you're going to see the difference. Okay, so I'm holding the Option key down and I'm clicking on the eyeball to go back to the beginning, and you can see almost right away. In fact, let me zoom in so I can really show this difference. It's a big difference. Okay, so we're concerned about this haloing and also the grain up here. So that's before holding down the Option key and clicking on the background button, and watch what happens. See how that cleaned it up? Okay, so this is before, and there's after. Now, when you're looking at a print on the wall, and it's massive, you want to kind of make sure that you get rid of some of this stuff. I mean, look at all this, all these distracting things going on down here, especially over here. So I'm going to go to the after again, just one more time so you can see it. See how that cleans it all up really nice. And I'm happy with that. I'll be sending this off to my good friend, my good new friend in Germany, very shortly tonight, and I hope she'll be happy with it. She seemed to really like it. So that's it for me. I'm just going to come back out and just say thank you for joining in again. I really appreciate the opportunity to share with the club. I picked up most of this stuff elsewhere, and it's my joy to be able to share it with others, and hopefully it'll really help your photography and elevate your tools, your tool chest, so to speak, so when you're editing, you'll be able to solve problems in an easier fashion. So thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks again. Bye.